everyone, Chef Lene here. How's it going? I'm so excited. There are 13 people here. I'm one of them, so that is oh, and Pauline is I'm gonna ask her about her date palm too. Okay, so 12 of you here, and then including me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming. Remember, every other Tuesday at 3:30 Central Time, I will introduce one of my plants and we'll talk about it. If you've not been to the Grow Your Own Food Club before, I am not a master gardener. I don't know that much about it, but I'm pretty successful um, based on fig over here. Just that, but right now in my cellar, I have goji berry plants and they're doing great. They're under fluorescent lighting. We will talk about full spectrum lighting. It's fairly expensive, but yes, you can manipulate the environment and grow plants inside. We'll talk about that. So I've got goji berries, turmeric, garlic, ginger, an avocado tree, a fig tree, lots of cactus. And snake plants, and I like those because they filter the air and leave off oxygen. So it really makes your home nice, and it's better than having like air fresheners and stuff like that. That's bad for your lungs and so on. I also have roses. There is an edible, uh, rose berry that you can eat that full of vitamin C, and they can be foraged for. So I've got roses all along one side of my house. So when I pruned them back to get ready for the cold weather, I cut them off. They were very leggy. I cut them off in 1 foot sections. I threw them in some water. I put them in my cellar, and they've leafed out, and they're starting to grow some roots. And I will replant those with the Grow Your Own Food Club in the spring. Okay, so let me show you my window right back there. So this is my little kitchen. It's very small, but you can see that one window. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 plants. I have a Norfolk pine, a jade plant, some cactus, and that one right there. What did my mom gave me a cutting of that? And that's a really expensive plant. I'll think of it. I'm having a senior moment, but that plant and that little face planter, they're very expensive. If you get a mature one, they're about $50 now, and we got it on Marketplace. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to have a lot of knowledge to grow your own stuff. You just have to get started, and you have to pay attention. I don't believe it's a green thumb, not a green thumb thing. You have access to the internet. You have access to other people that have been growing. Just we get together as a group and as a club, and we feature a different plant every time we talk about it. So far, we have started from seed. We've started from plugs. We've grown peas, beans, the other things that I've mentioned. If something dies, I throw it away and I start over. But what I do is I research. I've got a book, a journal, and I say, oh man, what happened to that? This is what I have to do differently. No big deal. Try again. Many of the plants that I grow are from stuff from my refrigerator, right? If I have romaine lettuce, I stick the end of the romaine heart in water and it will grow again. If I get some liquid fertilizer, I don't need soil or anything. I just grow it in water. I can do that with leeks, carrots, ginger, potatoes, peppers. I save the seeds. A million things you can grow for free from your groceries. I keep a compost bin. There's a little bin. Oops, I just lost my light. I hope that doesn't affect it too much. And I'm composting all the time. We've done also here at the club, we did some vermiculture, which is using worms to break down organic material faster. So that's super cool. And I've got a bin outside. I take my bills. I don't want to throw my bills with my address and everything in the garbage, right? So I take my bills and I shred the paper, and that is going to be the brown material. You need brown and green material. So in this club, that's all the things that you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to compost, how to use worms for compost, how to grow certain things. So plants, all plants need the proper temperature, the proper moisture or water, and the proper lighting, right? And then they need a growing medium, and that's soil. Doesn't have to be soil. We can do hydroponics. We are going to, at some point, grow. I'm going to build a hydroponic system. It's just PVC pipe with a small pump that will pump the water through the PVC pipes in little baskets, and the roots are hanging down, and we put some liquid fertilizer in there. The reason I want to do hydroponics is I don't like hauling bags of soil, right? We don't need soil if we have the right, like, coconut coir, water, nutrients, lighting. And as I say every time we have one of these meetings, you have to know your growing zone. I'm in 5B. I'm in New York State. Our growing season is 5 months. But if I start my seed inside where it's warm, when April, first part of April, sometimes the last part of March, I then move everything outside. All of my plants downstairs will move outside. And then I adjust to the outdoor temperatures, but things freeze here. So let me start here. Small fish tank pumps, yep. And then you need oxygen. You've got to have a little, just like fish tank, and they're very inexpensive. However, to get a hydroponic system going, you are going to invest about $75 initially, and that's about it, but it's easy. And then I want to build a hydroponic system so that I can do lettuces and stuff during the winter months. And there is a video, YouTube, that I'm going to put on our Club Hub that shows my cellar, and it shows, I think we did the goji berries together. It was just looked like a stick. We planted it, I fed it and watered it, and now they're huge. They're like 5 feet tall. So that's really fun. They will be planted in the spring. So that's my little introduction for those of you that have not been to the meeting before. Today, here's the agenda for today. I'm going to show you a couple of videos about figs. I love figs. Figs are super sexy, if you didn't know. And they're high end. So fine dining, you'll find a lot of fig crostini or hors d'oeuvres or amuse-bouche. You can make them into spreadable jams, and it's like any other fruit. You can use them with brie or brie en croûte, which is brie in a crust. They're sweet and they're gorgeous. Oh my goodness. When you cut into the center of them, there's many different varieties. You'll see the little seeds inside. In fact, we can take this little guy, if you see that it's fruiting right there, we could cut into that, save the seed, dry the seeds, and propagate a lot more fig plants. So today we're going to talk about it, what kind of moisture it needs, what kind of care it needs. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos. And I want in the chat you guys to give me some ideas of names for the plant. I like to name my plants, and we do have a mascot, which is Susan. Pauline, you probably remember we named Susan. I'll put all of the names in a random picker app, and I'll pick the name, and then I think that's how we pay attention to the plants. I talk to them. They're a living thing, right? Oh, here's another person joining. So Super excited about that. I will get to the chat questions at the end just because I got to keep focused on the one thing that we're talking about here today. And I think you guys know me by now. I could go off into a million different, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Figgy is cute. That's super cute. Keep the names coming. I'm going to bring her over here. Ugh, pretty heavy. And so you can see a close-up of what the leaves look like. And then I'll give you a little story as to what happened and how I acquired her. Okay, so because I live in upstate New York, I love Ithaca, New York. Ithaca has a university, Cornell. Cornell is one of the best hospitality management schools, but it's very Ivy League, and we are a huge agricultural community. So that allows us to have all these professors that have artisanal greenhouses and dairy farms with local cheeses and all the things. That's 45 minutes from me. So when spring happens, I go Figaro, I love that. When I go to Ithaca, I get my plants for spring planting, right? So it's all grown here in New York State. You want to do that because if I go to Home Depot and I buy a plant that started in New Mexico and it's a completely different environment, soil makeup, all that stuff, I might lose the money I've invested. So I go locally to get my plants, and then I can always go back to that greenhouse and say, hey, I got this really weird bug or whatever if they don't live. I kind of have a little bit of insurance there. So I bought the fig plant 2 years ago, and it was maybe this big. And as you can see, maybe, there's this stick right here with nothing on it. And I'm sure some of the students that have been to the Grow Your Own Food Club before saw it when I bought it. I threw it in a raised bed and it flourished. And my idea was a raised bed that was maybe 4 feet long by 2 feet wide. That's it. Threw it in that because I didn't want animals to get to it and such. And it flourished and it doubled in size in 2 months or whatever. It's still too young to produce fruit though. Well, when it got big enough, I threw it in the ground and I double checked that a brown Turkish fig, which is the variety, would work in my zone, which is 5B. Yes, they grow, but when you're getting them established, you have to mulch the soil because if they freeze when they're too young, you will lose them. Okay, so I go through the winter, spring comes along, and I wait and wait and wait for it to get leaves. It never does. And it's normal for the leaves to get brown, fall off, and die back and come back in the spring. That's absolutely normal, but this one never did anything the whole season. And I was upset. I'm like, okay, because I spent a year on it and I just figured it was dead. I never give up on plants. I took, and it was literally just this stick right here. No leaves or anything. I brought it inside. And when I got my first leaf, it was like Christmas. And it came off of the other, let me see if I can go down here. You see this dead one, right? That's what died. That was what I had in the ground. And then a new shoot came up alongside this guy. So I knew something was going to happen. Then I went to one of the local nurseries here, and I was buying a tree, an ornamental tree for my front yard. And inside, they had a fig tree that had like 25 figs on it. And I was like, what? So I thought, okay, I'm bringing her inside. Well, she was inside at that point, but I'm going to leave it inside. So I have her in my cellar. It's like 70 degrees. give or take. It can drop to 60 down there. And under fluorescent lighting, that's it. I don't have full spectrum expensive lights. I don't have any of that. Lots of my plants are growing. Okay. So I was super excited. And then when I saw the first fig, I really got excited. You see one coming there. There's one coming there. So almost every 2 inches, there's another fig coming. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for real, but that's probably all I'll get. My research tells me that when they're young, they're not going to fruit as much. This is only a 2-year plant, maybe 3 years at the max. Okay. So, I'm super excited. It's super beautiful, and I cannot wait to make some high-end hors d'oeuvres, with the figs once, she's really producing. I think what I will do is invest in a full spectrum plant light. I'll probably go on Facebook Marketplace. The whole idea here is to keep our costs down. People get rid of them all the time. And I will put her under a full spectrum light, but I'm going to keep it upstairs. And I'll tell you why. I'm not going to put it back downstairs. I'm keeping her upstairs. So with that, let me show you and share with you some information I found in my research, and I want to share with you my favorite in pieces of information. And then I will take questions here in a little bit, okay? So I'm going to share with you, oops, hold on. And I'm going to apologize in advance for the advertisements you're going to see. I'm sorry, I don't know enough about my computer to take those off. But so I will make these resources available to you on the Grow Your Own Food Club. I'm going to hit share. Here we go. Okay, so one thing I was doing wrong. Let me see if I can get rid of these. All right. Potted fig tree care, guide to growing fig trees in containers. In containers, right? And this guy is the guru of figs. He's super cool. I did watch this, and I can vet some of this information because I have a little bit of experience now just from the one fig tree. Okay, so one thing I did learn about this is that they need winter protection. It says they're only hardy to zone 7. I'm 5B. I think the higher the number, the more closer to the equator that you are. So they need protection. You can cover them. You can buy things to cover them for the winter months. And once it got mature, I'm sure it would be protected in zone 5B, which is where I am. If you don't know your zone, go to the Club Hub and you will see it it's like your instructor announcements on your class pages. We've got information in there going back 2 years, so check it out. Here's fig tree care. You can get a large harvest if you know what you're doing. Check out this poster over here. I love posters like this. When I'm trying to learn about fish or mushrooms or any of that, I like to invest in one of these posters. I put it in my room and I study it, right? So it depends on the type of fig, obviously. What size pots do you need? Now, obviously, I'm going to need to transfer her pretty soon. I'm not going to mess with it while there's some babies on there. There's some fruit. After she's done fruiting, I will then look into pruning care, and I'll get a much bigger pot. You always have to make sure you have enough room for the tap root and all the secondary roots coming off. And what I do is, she could be root bound in that pot. It's going to be, I don't know, she's been in the pot maybe 6 months, but she's done some significant growing. So I want to make sure the roots have enough space. So I'll do it outside, probably in the spring. And I will make sure that the roots aren't rotten or moldy or anything like that. I might cut away any gross roots And then I'm gonna make sure it's light and airy. You don't want it to be packed in the soil to get really hard, because then the roots can't breathe. They don't get the oxygen, they don't get the moisture that they need. But it says right here, for young fig trees, 3 to 5 gallon size pot until they become root bound. The way to find out if this is root bound is just to loosen it, turn it over a little bit, and check it. You know, I'm gonna repot it anyways. Look at this. So in the second or third growing season, a 3 to 5 gallon fig tree can ripen around 50 to 75 figs. That'll be so cool. So I'm gonna have to preserve it. I'll make like a jam and put them through my canner, right? And it says right here, a 10 to 15 gallon size container, at maturity, 150 to 200 figs. Now, this is what happens. If I keep it inside, I keep pruning it back, I'm going to have a dwarf fig. But would really hurt my feelings if I put my time and energy into her and then I plant it outside and I lose it during the next season. Okay, so I'm still growing here. You want enough space for the root to grow. Here is fig tree pot materials. I really like these fabric pots, not like this, right? Because they're lighter, you can carry them around, you can move it and stuff like that. You want them to be breathable, but obviously it's going to dry out quicker than something like this. Plastic always keeps hydration in. Plastic, cheap, right? Traps the moisture, but it does restrict the root growth because in the fabric containers, the roots can go right through it. Terracotta, prettier, it's breathable, but they can crack and so on. Half whiskey barrels, very heavy to move. So if you know that you want to keep it in one spot, you're good to go. I actually have one. It's about 5 gallons. I could do that. That's a really cool idea. And it could live on my patio and I could just bring it in once. My patio is off of my living room. So if she could live in my living room under a full spectrum light in the winter and then move it back out during the spring, that's one of my options as well. Okay. I'm going to show you this video real quick because it's not very long. And hopefully I can make it larger here. So bear with me. There we go.
All right, fig lovers, this is Ross, the Fig Boss. Today's video, we're going to answer a very common question that I get revolving around fig trees, which is how long does it take for a fig tree to bear fruits? And I think the answer actually is rather quick, and start growing fig trees. You'll realize the answer because fig trees bear fruit in a very short amount of time, guys. They'll often bear fruit actually in the first growing season, typically even only 6 to 8 months after you rooted it from a cutting that has no roots, a stick. You place it in soil in a good potting medium, a good rooting medium, you have a good environment, you have good lighting. 6 to 8 months later, you're going to enjoy a ripe fig. In other situations, if you guys have some trees that you probably bought, which is maybe the more likely case, like this fig tree here, I got this one from a friend of mine who gave it to me as only a 1 gallon size pot, and it was roughly 4 to 6 inches in height. In the first season now, it's been about 4 months that this tree has been growing, and it now has about 20 figs on it. And very soon, probably in the next month, I'll be able to enjoy the first ripe figs off of this tree. So very often, our figs, when they're young, can bear fruit. 6 to 8 months from cutting, definitely in the first growing season, especially if they went through a dormancy process. And so a lot of us don't have to be that impatient with the fig trees. I was also, like you guys, probably very impatient when you first started out. We always want to have fruit right away, but a lot of the fruiting plants, unlike the fig, take a really long time to bear fruit. A lot of the fruiting plants I have here on the property, pears, apples, persimmons, mulberries. Well, mulberries maybe is one exception, but a lot of the fruiting plants we're used to bear fruit typically in year 3 to 5. Some hit that sweet spot on year 5, and some even can go to year 7. Like a pawpaw took me 7 years. So the fig is really special in that situation. However, I will mention this, that if you want higher quality fruit, typically in that first growing season, you're not going to get great fruit quality. And the reason for that is because our figs typically uptake, our younger trees uptake too much water early on. They really want to grow, and that's great. We want them to get established. We actually don't want them to bear fruit. And because they're uptaking too much water, some of that water actually gets stored in the fruits themselves. And that lowers the Brix, the soluble sugars of the figs. And that, therefore, they don't taste as good. So we have to be a little patient. Usually in that second or third season, we'll get great production, and we'll also have better tasting fruit. Here on the deck, I brought you guys over here because we have some grafted fig trees I have in containers. Let me just show you real quick and zoom in on one of the graft unions. There it is. If you guys are interested, by the way, check out some of the videos I've done on grafting. This was grafted onto a 2-gallon size tree. Here's the graft union. We staked it to a bamboo stake, and now it's growing quite well. And there's nice fruit set actually forming right on in there. Here's another grafted tree, by the way, and you can see the fruits are a little bit more progressed. And what's nice about these grafted trees is that they have an established root system below them. So we don't have to wait necessarily nearly as long to get to the front of the roller coaster line, because we already have that established root system. Not only are we going to get fruit pretty shortly after grafting our fig trees, maybe even 4 to 5 months later, but they also are going to taste great typically because they have that established root system. They're not going to uptake that water nearly as much and then ruin the quality of the fruit. So if you really want high quality fruits early on, don't root them actually. Try some grafting. So again, check out the videos I've done and some of the information I've put out over the years on grafting fig trees. We'll see you guys for the next one, all right? Hit that subscribe button for me. Hit that like button for me. We'll see you. Fig lovers, this is Ross, the Fig Boss. Today's video, trees.
Ross the Fig Boss, that was cracking me up. That's super cool, right? Hey, I get to see your faces up there. I didn't see you before. Nice hat, Tatiana. Got some styling and profiling going on. Daniela, answer to your question, certain type of figs don't need, they're self-pollinating. However, that's a great question. However, just like my avocado tree, somebody asked how Susan was doing. Susan, we started as a group. Check out the club webpage. You'll see how we took an avocado pit. We put toothpicks in it. We put it in water, blah, blah, blah. There's all that information. I usually have avocado pits all along my windowsill. And Susan is our mascot. And she's now about my height. Now, and Pauline asked, because Pauline was part of that, she got really weird. All of her leaves got really brown, and I didn't give up on her, but some trees do that, just like this one. At the end of the growing season, the fig leaves get these big round brown spots, and they basically rot off, and that's part of their system. And that's what they do. They go dormant. And before they go dormant, that's not a bug. That's nothing. It's nothing we did wrong. It was how it should happen. And you end up with a stick, basically. If I keep the fig tree inside, it's not going to go through that process with the winter of dying back, I don't think. Susan did that. And then all of a sudden, maybe it was 2 months ago, she's too big for me to carry up here, but next meeting that we have, I will take you in my cellar with my iPad and you can see everything else I have going on. You can see the roses and the goji berries and the turmeric and ginger and all that. So all that stuff is going on under fluorescent lights again. So she looks great. She got, maybe the leaves were this big and they were a clump of 3, and now they're like that wide. And now she's got 3 more on top. So it's like less than a month she's getting a new layer of those leaves. And I haven't looked that up yet. I don't know if that's normal for an avocado tree. Now, going back to Daniela's question about the pollination, I'm not looking to get any Hass avocados from this Hass avocado tree. I don't live in the right climate. I'm growing her just because, well, I love her. I've got like a relationship with her now because, you know, when you grow something, it's nature, it's science, it's, oh my gosh, it's a living, breathing thing that benefits our lives. But I would need a male and a female avocado tree to produce the Hass avocado. What I like about her and about any plant that I have in my environment is they're constantly filtering the air and giving off oxygen. How that's a win-win, right? And then if it's producing food for you, like the gentleman said, you know, in a small container, we can get 20 to 30 figs. I counted them while you guys were watching the little video there, and I have 5. But again, I think it's 2 years old. And I went through a year of, you know, she was just a stick. So learning curve, like Pauline said, I don't know the science behind it. You know, I brew beer as well. And I have taught many people how to brew beer. I've got all the equipment. I've got a beer brewing room. I've got a $1,000 fermenter. And I haven't done it in about 5 years, but I love it. You get engineers that are so intelligent that when it comes to brewing beer, making cheese, making wine, sometimes, in my opinion, if you get too into the science of it and you're not just like one with the plant and paying attention and adjusting, sometimes you overthink it. And that's just me. And that's just because I'm not an expert at all. I'm just trying to help you guys learn. And I have been doing it for a while. It's like having your own free-range chickens. That's a cool thing. Takes you a couple of years and you learn all of it and you've got this amazing product. Anything you put your mind to and that you're passionate about, you'll learn, but you got to take that first step, right? You don't want to invest too much money and then like, oh crap, I really didn't know anything about temperature and all that. What I plan to do is put a spreadsheet together with all of the edibles that I'm growing and, you know, put a category for moisture, temperature, you know, pruning, and then keep track as I go. Right now, I'm just keeping a journal. So with that, I've got one other thing to share with you and one more piece of information about the fig tree here. And I only see a couple names in there, so help a sister out and give me some more names. I only have so far 2. Oh, Vic. Figaro, am I saying that right? Figgy. Yeah, I need some more names. Okay, so one thing I learned in my cellar, I have a 5-gallon bucket. And I have from my hot water tank a garden hose. And I've got the 5-gallon bucket sitting in the middle of all these plants. It's like a horseshoe shape. I go to my hot water tank, I open the valve, it fills up the 5-gallon bucket, maybe 10 feet away. And then I go over and I water everybody. I do that once a week, every Saturday, and consistently. Oh, yeah, I see some names coming in. I do that consistently. Well, and I watch the soil. If the soil is wet from one Saturday to the other, I don't water it. And I know that certain plants, like my cactus, they need dry soil, right? They need to fully dry out before you give them a full watering. Well, what I learned about the fig is it needs to be watered every day when it is producing the fruit. And obviously this one's producing fruit. I don't know why that one fruit is so much bigger than the rest. The rest of them are like the size of a pencil eraser. But that's why I brought her upstairs so that I see it. Because if I don't see it, I'm going to forget about it. And every day I give her a little bit of water. You don't want her to be waterlogged. You don't want the roots to end up rotting or getting moldy, but the fruit is going to require more moisture at that time, which I can almost guarantee if we did further research, we would find out that they fruit during a time of year where the humidity is higher, right? Because these things would typically grow in an environment without any human intervention. We are trying to control the amount of water, sunshine, and so on. That's why that's why you can grow inside. All right. And then I just have one more thing to share with you. And I think it's let me show you. And again, I will put these on the class page, but here's another thing. And this is where I learned about the watering, and I did adjust myself. So now that she's fruiting, maybe I'll get a little bit more harvest. Okay, so I will make this available to you. How to make a fig tree grow faster. I don't care about that. I want more of a harvest, but I'm really not at that stage, right? Macronutrients, fertilizer. I have a really good generic fertilizer. It's organic that I feed all my vegetables and stuff, and it's just you sprinkle it on the top once a month. We need good drainage. We need adequate sunlight. Water, we already talked about. Pruning, removing any competing vegetation. So, oh, Angela is here. Right back here, there's competing vegetation. Oops, let me stop my share. Right here, I don't know if you can see this little offshoot, but there's one main plant all the way up, and then there's a little offshoot here. Anytime you prune, if I take that off, the nutrients are going to go toward that one big main stalk. I'm not going to mess with that because, as you saw in the video, that guy had, I don't know, what did he say? 40 different figs on that 3-year-old fig tree. It wasn't that big. It wasn't even as tall as him. So I'm not going to mess with it. But pruning, you don't want things to get leggy and you want all the nutrients to go to one area. So that's why we prune. And you wouldn't want to prune until after, obviously, the harvest, right? I don't want to mess with it. But I think she's doing great. Yay. Okay, so you got lots of names here. Let me, I'm not sharing. So let's see what names we have here. You're welcome, Peter. I'm so glad you guys are here. Again, in 2 weeks, we'll have another meeting. This is where we lose our momentum, is when we have like Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? If we have a holiday like that, it pushes it the 2-week meeting out. Maybe in the spring we can do more than 2. Okay, so let me see. Fanny or Fiona, I'll put both. You guys can take yourself off mute while I'm taking these names down. That's all I had for you today. Do we have to do fig? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question, Kiara.
I was just asking for our first plant if we had to plant a fig first, but
No.
someone just was sharing that's what you were growing. I was just
Okay.
asking questions.
No, you plant anything you want and we will
Okay.
help you.
Okay.
You
Well,
know,
thank you.
look, I don't always have all the information, but I'll do this best I can to help you guys. And we have Pauline, who I ask her a lot of questions. She's on here today as well. I really like Odie, it's so cute. Fiona. Figgy Wiggy. Now we're talking. You guys you're getting all creative on me here. Do I have to put all the I's in the Figuero? Am I saying that right? Where is she? Danielle? I've never seen these before.
I thought Figaro. like in the cartoon.
Figaro.
And they used to go
Ew.
Figaro.
Girl.
Yes, I know that. I don't know why I know
And then
that.
you can sing Figaro every time it gives you a little pig.
I love that. Figetta. Okay, I think I got lots of names, so look for that. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to do this thing online. It's a random name picker. It's what we do if we're doing like a uh you know what I mean. Say I was going to give you a prize or something. I do that with students sometimes. I'll pick a book and buy a book and then I'll pick names. But anyway, I will do that and I'll let you guys know. I'll put a message on the Grow Your Own Food Club. Tatiana.
Hi, I was gonna ask because you were talking about the hydro. Basically, okay, so I just started composting, but I know there's another element that I need, like the soil or whatever. So I'm trying to see what else do I need to get. I have my compost bin and everything. I'm trying to see what else I need to order in order to like actually make it into the full soil
Okay,
thing.
go to go to the Club Hub, go to Grow Your Own Food Club, and in all of the messaging, I have a video where we talked about everything composting. All you need is brown and green materials. You can use leaves, shredded paper, um, sometimes like little lawn debris, stuff like that. That's your brown material. And then you've got your scraps. You never want anything like fat or protein or anything that, attracts rodents, or it's not garbage, it's compost. And you get the right amount and it naturally breaks down. It can take 3 to 6 months. You can purchase like something you sprinkle and it's like the bacteria already and it eats it faster. Also
Okay.
check out what we put on the Club Hub. We did vermiculture. That was a blast. We built a styrofoam tower, had 3 sections. We bought 1,000 worms. And then I just gathered all my scrap from the kitchen, like eggshells, scraps of vegetables, all the things. The worms eat it. It goes through their system, and that's the excrement. But the worms break it down, and you have what's left. It's dark. It looks like soil. It's called liquid gold, or there is a tea that comes off too. We had a spigot and some tea, worm tea, and you use it as a fertilizer. And I did put that material on my plants downstairs. I've got to do that again, but I've been traveling. I went to Morocco this year, so
Mm.
I was out of the country and like that disrupts your momentum so much. I didn't get new worms because I don't want to kill the worms. You can keep those worms, they keep reproducing, and you'd never lose your worms if you're managing them. So yeah, let me know by messaging me in the Club Hub what you want to learn about, or email me and I can help you find the information on the Club Hub. We've actually done
Okay.
quite a bit.
Okay, thank you. I think the one that you're talking about, like the little specks, I have the Fakashi one. That's like the little brown that eats away at the bacteria instead of doing the worms, because I'm in an apartment and I just ain't want
Oh,
worms in here. So I got the Pakashi one, and I do be draining the juice off and everything. I just don't know after the couple weeks or months or whatever, and it decomposes, what else I need to add to it, to actually plant stuff in it. But I'll message you for sure.
okay. A couple other things you need to keep it. Okay, it's an organic material. It's always breaking down, so it gets really warm. It likes high temperatures and you got to water it. You water it and you keep it going. It gets really hot in the center. But then if you want to speed up the process, it all depends on, your ratio of browns to nitrogen to the other things that are in there. And I don't know the breakdown of all the carbon, nitrogen, all that. I don't know that. Sometimes they need potassium, right? Sometimes plants thrive when you throw your banana peels on them and such. Yeah. I know my little composter that's for the kitchen. It looks like that little crock you see with the red, that's for my dogs. It's got dog treats in it, but that's what it looks like. And I gather about a gallon worth, it takes me like a week. And then I take it out to my composting turnable bin. And I got that off of Facebook Marketplace for $30. They're $100. I got a brand new one for $30 the end of last year. So really check out Big Ol' Bin. Nice. You know how many gallons it is? Jerry, the worms for the compost, look it up. It's called vermiculture. And I do have a whole video on vermiculture on the class page. And I went to you can order the worms on the internet. There's a company called Uncle Jim's Worms. Check it out. I went to a local bait shop. Same worms. Now, not all worms are conducive to breaking down compost. Some break it down faster than others. But the guy at the bait shop, he knew. He's like, yeah, these are the worms you want. Guano, yes. Yeah, it just depends on the plant. You've got to do that research. Calcium, magnesium. I don't know about magnesium. I know calcium. You find that in the shells of the egg, chicken eggs, and they go right in as well. Aerating the soil, that's right. Pauline's talking about, so it's the droppings. The worm is eating and throwing it out the other side. I mean, we could talk about composting toilets if you want. That's my next project. I am going to do a composting toilet. Those things are like $300 to $1,000. And I'm going to make one for my downstairs bathroom. It's not gross when you know what you're doing, Yep, Pauline saying every plant is different. So you have to experiment with a type of plant, start with an avocado, try to grow an avocado tree, try to grow herbs on your windowsill. Start small and keep going. Yeah, Daniela, so check it out. Check out on a YouTube video, right? When you go to YouTube, search for how to build a composting toilet. Sounds weird, but there is for $159, you get the seat, and it has a urine separator. I know, I'm sorry, it sounds gross, but the urine when you use the bathroom, the urine goes down through your plumbing. Solid materials, you sprinkle the stuff in there, and then you sprinkle it on top, and you take it outside, and you put it in an area where nobody gets to it, disrupts it or whatever, and it composts right away. It is what it is. Lots of countries use that for compost material. We're doing the same thing the worms are, right?
It's the same thing as guano, the bat's manure.
Right. It's the same thing as using horse manure, cow manure, all the things, because it's just organic materials being broken down to become fertilizer. You know what the coolest thing for me is? That plants, there are 4 basic elements even the human body is made out of. Every living thing in the environment, like I feel like we're connected to that, It's a system. It's this ecosystem and if you're into health and wellness and biodiversity and you care about the earth and you care about your health, then it's just natural to get into this stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Chicken manure is great. You got to let it, age a little bit first, otherwise it will burn the plant. Too much fertilizer can burn your plants. You have to be careful,
What about overwatering, Chef?
I'm sorry.
Overwatering? How can you tell if you water?
I can't give you like a educated answer. I'll give you my experienced answer.
Okay.
Every Saturday, I water all my plants. I've got Christmas cactuses. I love cactus. I've got them everywhere. They're just so unique. They're so cool. And I snip them off the main plant and I reroot them and I give them away and stuff. So I got a lot of plants. I do like the edibles mostly, of course, it's like I'm getting one up on the man by producing my own. But every Saturday I water my plants and I watch the plant. If the plant looks like it's struggling at all, I research it. How much water
Okay.
does it need? Blah, blah, blah. But I always feel the soil.
Okay.
If I watered, you have to have great drainage too. You never want water to be collecting under here. So all of my pots have drainage. And then I have a little plastic, thing that catches the water. If I'm getting too much water in the tray or my soil is staying too damp, I got to hold
Okay.
off. I don't give it as much, right? So,
Yes.
but I just learned with this one, when you're producing fruit, you need more hydration. Some plants, like in my windowsill, I've got that Norfolk pine. It's behind the lamp, right? Let's see, right there. That's a Norfolk pine. I have to take her down and spray it. Sorry, I don't know why I give them genders. I spray it with a water bottle like every other day and that's why she's in the window, because when I'm washing dishes, it creates more, moisture. Like our bathrooms, when we're showering and all that, bathrooms get a good amount of moisture as well. So I listen to the plant. Like I said earlier, I don't believe in green thumb, not green thumb. It's paying attention. If you're going to have plants and then you're just not going to bother with them for a couple of weeks, then you're going to lose them and you're not paying attention. If I get any discoloration on leaves, if I get little bugs, anything, that's when I research. Otherwise, I just go with it, like throw it up to the universe and see what happens, I really do. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just do it. So, but I think that's the best way with moisture. Now, some things, what am I thinking about? Like outside, I have raised beds that when the growing season starts, then I do a little bit more research. And like I said, I keep a journal, one page for one plant. I write down how it thrives, when it should harvest a fruit, when I prune it, and I just keep notes like that. Check out on the club page an interview with a local farmer. That was amazing. She's amazing. She has like 50 different products. She's near Ithaca, and we did do some interviewing with people like that. Does growing in size cause a lot of bugs? It does cause bugs. In my cellar, I do get some little things flying around, but not much. Like the windows down there really, they've got like this lever and they really shut. But yeah, I get a little bit, but not to the point where you can control bugs much better inside than you can outside. But if you've had the plants growing outside and then you bring them in, there is a risk that you're bringing something in. What are good starter plants for apartments? Herbs. We know that herbs have many. I think I just saw a bug go like that as I said, oh no, bugs aren't a problem. It lands on the end of my nose, right, to make a liar out of me. But so start with the avocado tree. That'll really get you excited once the taproot forms, the leaves form. And again, there's a how-to steps, all the steps on the club page. Well, then check that out and get something to counter the aphids, because I've not had any. my house plants are okay. Sometimes, you know what? That's another reason, to get your plants from a local, greenhouse instead of like Home Depot, these big box stores. That stuff's coming in from all over, right? And it's bringing a lot of stuff. Even the soils bring in stuff. Anytime you can, go to a local place for soil, mulch, and the, starter plants. And then you can call them, hey, I've got this little bug. It looks like X. What do I do? They're going to know. You've got a little bit of, insurance there. Time is the only thing that has made it. I do a lot of lavender. In fact, I brought my lavender in, and it was in the cold, air. I had so much lavender this year, and I brought it in after 2 months in winter air. It's downstairs, and they're growing. They're about this big now. So the next meeting that we have, I will, conduct the meeting. I'll be in my cellar, and I'll show you all the plants I have down there.
Ooh.
All right, any other questions or comments or anything, guys?
Usually if you're growing herbs and there's bugs, they came in the soil when you bought plants.
Trying to think
So-
where I got my soil for my raised beds. I think just the box stores. But then the plants that I bought, again, my source is an organic, greenhouse in, French lavender is great for food applications. That's what I use mine for. I use it for, I like to just put a pot of water onto, and you know what I mean, for the aromatic. But I also, sometimes I did a, tincture. And then we do also have some tincture videos that we did. We did mint tincture and, lavender tincture as a group. But if you have ideas of things you want to do or talk about, let me know, and we'll do that. I better get going and get some grading done, but I was so excited to have all you guys here. Reach out to me anytime. I don't think you're not all my students like currently, but you can still reach out to me, email me. I'm going to put my number in the chat here that you can put in your phone. I'm trying to remember my number. Isn't that bad? It's a soft phone, computer number, but got it. You see how that works? It's like, I won't have it, and it's like, oh, there it is. I don't know, I have it. Try to take off as much soil and repot with your own soil to lessen bug issues. Okay. And when you say your own soil, where does that soil come from? You know what I mean? Like somebody living in an apartment wouldn't be able to do that.
You can get a good bag soil, a good, a good brand of soil that's got nutrients in it, stuff like that. But usually if the plants are sitting out in a greenhouse somewhere and they're traveling from one area to another, more than likely there's going to be bugs in the soil. So
Okay.
try to take off as much soil as you can off leave a little bit on the roots. You don't want to shock the whole plant. It's like herbs and stuff I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then repot it in a different pot and wash the pot that it came in very thoroughly with hot water and dry it if you want to use that pot. Because the bugs can go into the plastic and stuff like that and lay dormant.
I've noticed that peroxide helps as well with soap and warm water as well to remove insects and pests when you're washing pots. They don't come back.
That downy mildew, you know what I'm talking about? The white. It's actually like a bug that creates like a little bit of a protective cover on it. Okay, guys, have a good night. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna let you know what the name is, okay? And I promise it'll be.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
I have a quick question before we go.
Okay.
What kind of light is it? Is it just a grow light?
I don't have any grow lights yet. I'm doing everything on fluorescence. So
Fluorescent. Hold on, baby. Okay, and I want to show you something. In
okay,
the summertime, I just got this right here. Is that okay? That right there?
here, let me bring you up a little bit here. Let me hold on. I'm gonna pin you so that we can see what you're showing us here. Pin, replace pin. Okay. Oh, nice.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
What's she showing?
What are you,
Okay.
what are you gonna do with
And then
it?
I just need grow lights for on the inside for when it gets because it's snowing out here right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
What are
that's
you
all I
gonna,
need to know.
well,
Thank
what
you
are you
so
gonna
much.
do with that structure? What are you gonna do with it?
I wanted to make that into my greenhouse.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
That's how I
you
was
can,
like, is that okay?
yes,
Yeah.
get some covering to go over the top. You know, there's different covering that you can do. Yeah.
Okay.
Where'd
Thank
you get
you.
it from?
You can also get from Facebook Marketplace some old windows.
Oh, windows. Okay.
Yeah, and maybe
All
just
right.
put
I
them
can
on the
go.
roof.
I can go to Hobby Lobby. I know what you're talking about. Thank you.
Yep, just make sure the structure is strong enough, you know, if you're gonna put weight on the top there, you know what I mean?
Okay. But
Cool,
thank you
let
so
us
much,
know how
Steve.
it goes.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Someone's asking,
Oh
Tatiana,
wait, Kiara, where did you get that from? Or like, did you just like find it or Facebook Marketplace, or did you order it? You're on mute, love.
we can't hear you here.
You on
Me and
mute.
my kids got it from our neighbor. So I'm
Okay.
gonna
Nice,
turn it
good
into my
find.
green.
Okay, blessing. Okay. Good.
Now get you a little composter out there. And some worms. Don't forget about the worms.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. Bye, everyone.